I was going to say good morning, good afternoon. We are back to paint today, first time this week. So, yeah, we were hurrying, hustling. I had to go grocery shopping, running a few extra errands. Barely made it back in time, got the groceries put away, and here we are. So, with chips in my teeth. But anyways, we are going to do some tulips today. This one will be pretty simple but fun because watercolor is always fun to see what it does. Can't wait to see what you kids come up with because you're so creative and I love it. So anyways, welcome. My name is Laurie. Sometimes I need to get in the habit of saying that, but I forget because eventually these videos will probably be on YouTube and not everybody's going to know who this lady is. But anyways, my name is Laurie Rockwell. I own Pieces of My Art. It's an art studio that I do painting classes, paint parties, and go around different places and do it. But since this whole quarantine thing has been going on, we've been going live every single weekday and doing drawing and watercoloring to just kind of give kids a break from school, give moms and dads or whoever breaks from the routine of craziness with everything changing, probably in their workplace and with kids around and all of that, or even just giving something to do. It's great therapy. I like to call it heart therapy. And so with a capital A-R-T at the end of heart. So anyways, we have just gotten so much out of this. I look forward to doing this. Sometimes I feel bad when I get rushed like today when I'm just like trying to hurry and get here and start. It's much more enjoyable for me when I know that I've been prepared instead of running in, sliding into my seat like a lot of days when I was in high school. But that's a whole different story. But anyways, we're going to get started, and I'm going to hop over to my seat, and we are going to draw some tulips, and we will have some fun. Are we on, Kaden? Did it work? Did you hit start? Because nothing has come up on here that shows.
No, I forgot to hit it. So you have to redo it.
I do? Whatever. Yeah, no. It says we're live. Is this connected? I don't know. We'll look and see. I don't see anything on here. Oh, there we are. Okay. All right. So anyways, if anybody's around today, say hello. It looks like it's quiet right now. I think part of it is just because of getting out of the routine that makes a difference. And so, yeah, that's Diddy. Diddy the cat. But anyways, we're going to paint. So when you guys hop on, be sure you say hello. So I know you're here. Otherwise, Kate and I are going to paint. I feel like this phone is way too close to me today. Hang on, I got to move this. I did a different video yesterday, and I had it in a different spot, and I moved stuff around. So, oh, Lori says hi to Diddy. Diddy's over eating again. That's all he really does is eat. Okay, does everybody see good? I didn't want my mouth right by my phone and my hair in it, and that's what I felt like it was. Okay, so let's draw. I'm glad you're here, Lori, because I feel like nobody was going to be here today. Man, the weather isn't that great, though. It does not feel like almost the middle of May today, but I think we have warmer days ahead. I have flowers out in the studio that I need to put in the ground, but I've been putting it off, thinking it's going to warm up a little bit. Didn't want to lose any to the cold. All right, so we're going to do some tulips, and I'm going to do 2 of these. Actually, let me just get my cardstock first, and I'll draw it. Whoops, not that one. That one's got stuff all over it. I'm going to draw it first, just cardstock with a Sharpie with my Sharpie to show you the outline. And then I'm going to come over to the watercolor paper, and I'm going to do it without the outline. But I want to make sure that you guys get an idea of how to draw a tulip. And then you can try it without the outlines if you want to, okay? So anyways, we're going to get started, and I'm just going to do 2 tulips here. They're fun, and they're simple to make. They're super easy to paint. So when you guys, Lori, when you're part of our acrylic painting class and your girls will be painting tulips as well. So you'll just learn a different way of doing it. All right, so we're going to start with just the middle. They're almost egg-shaped. Okay, now tulip petals sometimes aren't always perfect. There may be a little ridge in them, or, you know, a little end that's not perfectly rounded or whatever. So let go perfect here. Okay, so that's like one petal. So now I'm going to add one to the side, and then I'm going to tuck one back on this side. I probably could have made that metal one a little higher, so I'm going to go ahead and put another petal behind that one. All right, so they have just stocky stems that don't have any. This is going to be color, and then the stem itself is green, and they're about the size of a straw. And then their leaves, a lot of times they're pretty wide, but they're just pointy. I have some tulips here, but they don't ever make, I don't think, tulips aren't like daffodils. You have to replant them after a while. I don't like that one very well. Don't like the real pointy tips. I like it a little less pointy on the end. All right, now we'll do another tulip. I should have made these a little bigger, the flowers bigger. All right, so I'm going to do another one. I'm going to start with the middle petal. And I'm just going to make a little bit of a pattern on the end of it. And then I do one side, on the other side. We could probably fit more. I may do more than 2 tulips. Before I do the other end, the other side of the stem, I'm going to go ahead and add some of the petals here, so I can kind of put them behind. See how I did that? I put that leaf right behind, and then I went ahead and put that stem in then. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do another one. I'm going to do one right up here in the middle. This one's going to be bigger. See how wonky I make my shape? It could have maybe been a little less wonky, but lots of green on this, but I can't wait to see the color that everybody uses for their tulips. So I'm just kind of sticking some leaves back in between this that you can't really tell what's going on here, but they're there. Okay, so there's some tulips. All right, I'm going to set this over to the side, and we're going to do it with watercolor, without doing the outlines, just kind of from memory of how we just drew them, okay? So let's set that up there so you guys, if you weren't drawing, because I went through that pretty quick. All right, if anybody else has joined us, I'd love to say hello to you. We're painting tulips today. So I'm going to use my smaller brush here. This is a round brush, a size 4. So this is the one, and I'm getting it wet. So my favorite way to paint is wet on wet, and which is basically you paint with water first, but you're not going to see this too much yet. But I can, by the reflection of the light, I can tell where my water is. So I'm painting all of this center part of the tulip, the first one we did here. I'm just painting it all with water, spread my water around. And then I'm going to grab my red violet, and I want to outline it mostly towards the bottom the sides, not the top. Okay, I want to add a little of my orange in here as well. Do I want orange? You know what? I'm going to do yellow in it instead of orange. So I'm getting that really wet here. And I want my yellow right up against my pink. So it's changing the color of my tulip a little bit. And I just clean my brush frequently. There we go. That's the color I wanted. Kind of a coral red color. Okay. Now my water's already soaked in towards the top, so I'm just going to re-wet it where I had my line. I'm getting it wet right down where I stopped painting, so then that's pulling that paint up in the tip of this. One thing that's nice about when you're not using Sharpie to outline this part, you can kind of change it before you paint it a little bit. Alright, so now I do want a darker, so I'm not doing wet on wet for this. I want the edge of the petal on each side to be a darker pink. Now if you don't touch it where you painted last, it'll leave a little bit of a gap there to where your colors won't bleed together if you don't want them to. So, I mean, you can let it do that, but I do want to be able to tell where each individual petal is. And as this first one dries, I'm going to add more paint on it in some places to kind of show you a little shading of it. Because there's darker places and lighter places. Alright, so there's one. We're going to let that one dry. Love the colors of it. Man, I wish I had tulips like that in my yard. Okay. I'm going to let that one dry. And I'm going to just, for this part, I'm only going to do 2. So I'm going to do another one down here. Alright, so I'm going to make my Easter egg water petal here. Not really a petal. We don't want it too thick. Too much water. But enough that my colors will do their awesomeness here.
Here, my turn.
Okay, now that's pretty. Look at it. It's going to drip if you hold it. Oh, that's really pretty. I like the colors. There's cadence. I like it. I think as it dries, if you got some darker greens down in there, it would add a little bit more depth to it. But I just think I love it. It's very pretty. You like had that done in 2.5 minutes today. Hey Leah, welcome. Alright, so this is just my center petal for this flower. I'm trying to get my pink off so I can get my yellow here. Just adding some yellow in with my pink. Not blending it completely because I like all the different colors showing. Sometimes I think it would have been handy if I keep a hair dryer, but I never think about it till I'm already here and I got way too much water. So if you get way too much water and you don't have a hair dryer handy, or you just want to absorb some, it'll take some of the color out, but you can use a paintbrush to absorb some of the extra paint, or the water. It's like way too wet on that one. This one's kind of wet too up here. Then it'll dry a little faster, so if you want to add some darker layers to it, you can. Alright, I just want a little bit more pink in this. Get a little darker. Alright, now do my petals on each side. Those are my left and right petals. I'm going to take a little, the yellow down towards the bottom, just to kind of have some of the same repeating colors. Okay, so there, and I'll let those dry before I do any more. We'll see where they're at when we're done here. Okay, so now we're going to do the stems. Okay, so I'm going to just start with yellow for my stems. Whoops. Because then we can add our greens in it. So I don't have green on my paint tray. If you guys have green, go ahead and do your thing with your greens, okay? But you can still, even if you have green and you want different greens, you can mix your greens with greens or other colors too. But I'm just starting with yellow for this. And I do want it kind of wet because I want this to blend with my other color when I get on it. But this way you'll see better what I'm doing if I had color to begin with. All right, before I do this other one over there, I want, so the yellow and the turquoise makes a really bright green, and I like a more subtle green. So let me get this. Both of these yellows are exactly the same when I started. Do I have it in the right place? They were both exact same yellow. This is a tray of mixing paints by Crayola, just a mixing palette. Okay, so I have it over here, and there was already some black over here on my lid. So I'm just mixing that yellow in with these colors, and it's making this really pretty olive green. So I'm just gonna go over that now. And my stem already dried a little bit. But I just want to drop this in some places. I don't really need to blend it all. Now I want towards the bottom to be darker because I know that I'm going to have my leaves down there, so it's going to be a darker because it just is more shadow. So I'm just taking a little of the purple, and I'm going to add some purple in it down towards the bottom and just pull it up a little bit. So that gives the darker. And then I'm also going to take a little purple right up here where it would connect onto our tulip. All right, so I'm going to let that one dry a minute. I'm going to come do the other one. So I'm going to go back to my yellow. It got a little white at the top, but that's all right. Taking my green. This olive green color. Coming right down. And I'm putting some of the blue violet, which is like a purple color, down towards the bottom. A little bit more at the top. Just gives that depth. All right, so now we got leaves to do. Okay, so we're gonna do the, let's not do wet on wet. Let's just paint with paint here for this. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix on my tray, whoops, a good amount. I got my paints really wet, so they're creamier. And then I do want a little bit of this turquoise in this one. Not too much, but a little bit, just to get it a little greener. Okay, that totally went way too green. Well, maybe not. Once I get it mixed in, it may be fine. I'm gonna just add a little bit more yellow to that. I am totally making a mess of my yellow here, because I'm not not be impatient to clean my brush. All right. Get more yellow. Make it more of a yellowy green. All right. So now I'm just going to go ahead and paint my tulip leaves here. I need a bigger brush. Whoops. There was pink in that one. That's all right. Just adds to the different shades of green. Now I'm starting to dip in just different colors instead of having them mixed, okay? Because I like to see that is some vivid Kelly green going on here. Not what I want to see, but we will tone it down here as we add some more yellow to this. But I do want darker leaves going on. A little of the blue violet now. One of these days I'm going to get some different watercolors. These are just great for playing with, and I mean, they do amazing, but they're not quite the quality for if you're wanting to really dig into watercolor. It wouldn't be great for starting out, for learning. These colors are beautiful. I've used them for all my art classes that I've taught with the kids. My favorite paints to use with students, because there's just so much to do with them as far as making new colors. So now I'm just I have all of my different, I have the colors I'm using are my yellow, my turquoise, and my purple. So I'm just using each of those. To just get different colors in here. Now as this dries, see, I don't really have like this needed a darker green along here to show that leaf is over top of that. Darkest colors down towards the base, because that's getting less light. Lighter colors up towards the top, that should be lighter. Let me go over that with some yellow. Just tone that down a little bit. Right now it's so wet, it's hard to get where my really darker, whoops, got a big old goober there. So I'm trying to bring some of the leaves forward on top of the other ones, so they don't all look like, you can't tell which one's in front of the other. So taking the really deep colors down here. Now if you have paper that's too thin, for this, you don't want to probably, I'm doing a lot of painting, a lot of water, a lot of paint on this. If you, if your paper is not very heavy, you want to be careful that you don't get too much water, because it'll just really start peeling the pieces of paper off. And I'm getting clumps of paint in this. See, that's too green for me, so I go back and I just get my yellow in here and I'm putting it on here. You could mix, to keep getting your paper too wet, you could also mix on a plate, a coated plate, a plastic plate or something, and or in the tray of your paints. Taking a little of this off. Some more yellow right on top here. I feel like I need one more leaf. I'll just make it look like my little stem of that tulips are coming down at the bottom. Alright, so I feel like I need one more, maybe. But these are pretty. I love these tulips. I'm not going to do another leaf. I'm going to just let it be because I think I'd be trying to push it too much. So I'm going to go back to my little brush. And I want to add a little bit of darker. So I'm taking my red orange now. And I want to mix it with a little bit of my red violet. So it's a really dark color. And I'm just going to come to the base of my tulips. Maybe along the edges. Sorry, now my hand's in the way. Just where those, and I set my arm right in my, what is going on with this? I set my hand right on top of that. I feel like I need to turn it upside down. But anyways, I'm just adding these deeper shades into the base of this. Because it's definitely where the shadows would be. Then I'm going to come over to this one and add some darker towards the bottom of this one. Talk about pretty bright tulips, you guys. So I kind of add a little bit of an outline, but it's this color. I can soften it with the water if I feel like it gets too much. Anyways, all right, so I'm going to come down here at the bottom one more time, and I'm just going to get a good definition where I can tell, so I can see where, so I took my blue, my blue violet and my turquoise, and I kind of mixed those together in with some of this green. So I'm just getting the really deep down parts where these leaves are tucked in behind this one, so you can tell that some of these are forward and some are behind. And then I'm just doing some dark on the underneath sides of this. Add a little bit of a depth to those. So anyways, all right, you guys. Wow, 30 minutes. This went quick. Let's do one more thing. Let's do a little butterfly. Little butterfly coming over here. So I'm painting it. Paint my water first. be like magic. Alright, I don't want a lot of color in it, so, and I also don't want it to get too muddy. He's kind of wet here, going pretty wet. Alright, this I don't want to touch my wings. If I can help it. I don't care his body isn't in the right place, but for his wings it should have come up attached, maybe up there, but that's okay. Alright, there's today's painting. Tulips and butterflies. You guys post yours, share with them. I love to see them. This one was fun. It was simple and quick. Tomorrow, I don't remember, Wednesday we were doing, I had Wednesday rhymed, or it was the same letter. I don't remember. So anyways, whatever it'll be, I have the post on my page to see what other classes I have coming up for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Supposed to get a lot of rain, so I'm sure we'll be in here. We are getting warmer weather. Next week is Caden's last week of school. Thursday, and I know next Thursday I go back and I paint with my assisted living friends. I'm so excited to get to go back there. So I know next Thursday on our last day of school I won't be here painting. But just because school's out, I don't want you guys to think that I'm not going to paint with you anymore, because I do want to. So I would love some feedback about what you guys think would be good for a summer schedule. I know I won't probably do it every day. I'm hoping we'll get to go to the pool some. I mean, I could move it to a different time. I even thought about doing it earlier in the morning. That way it's there. You guys can access it whenever you want to. But all of these videos are under my video section. You guys can come back and paint them whenever you want. They'll be there. I am slowly uploading them to YouTube. Not fast enough, because I think, I need to write a description and title all that, why I'm doing it, and that totally keeps me from getting it done. But anyways, we will still paint next week, and so I'll get that scheduled. But we got 3 more days this week to paint. You guys, thank you for the feedback and telling me how much this means to you. It's so awesome, and I'm glad that I can offer it to do this. I'm just having fun with it. This is not something, watercolor isn't something that I am experienced in a whole lot, so I just like playing with it. And it's just so beautiful and fun to see what your colors do. So anyways, you guys have a great afternoon, and we will see you tomorrow. And thanks again for hanging out.